Imagine you're a business owner relying on a dozen different software programs, each one disconnected, more expensive, and more complicated than the last. It can be incredibly stressful, right? Now, picture Odoo. Odoo brings all the tools your business needs into one simple platform. CRM, accounting, inventory, manufacturing, marketing, HR, and more. All seamlessly connected. Everything works together, giving you the peace of mind that your business is running smoothly from every angle. Odoo's open source applications are user-friendly and designed to scale with your business, saving you time and money. Say goodbye to juggling multiple platforms and hello to efficient, integrated management. Stop wasting resources on complicated systems and make the switch to Odoo today. Visit odoo.com, ODOO.com, and discover how Odoo can simplify and streamline your business operations. Odoo, modern management made simple.
Hi there, and thank you for joining us on the Overcomers Overcoming podcast. We feature those who are in the process of overcoming or have overcome any type of life encounter, life obstacle that at the time seemed to be almost insurmountable. With this podcast, we have three objectives in mind. Our first objective is we want you to know with a confident resolve you are not alone. We want to work with you. We want you to know there are others who are working with you, who want to help you through whatever you are encountering, and together we will get through whatever you're experiencing.
Our second objective is there are multiple options for any life encounter you are facing. We want to help you develop a resolve that there are various options and solutions to any life dilemma.
Our third objective is to help you with critical thinking skills. If you're encountering something that was possibly a decision you made sometime in the past, and if you had the opportunity for a life redo, you would make a different decision. We want to help you with those critical thinking skills that can help you make an informed decision and not encounter what you're going through at the moment. We are the Cooper Culture, a veteran-owned business. We work with business personnel and families to develop and sustain connected relationship cultures within their families and organizations. That type organization is one where people feel wanted, appreciated, and genuinely a part of that organization. I'm with my wife and business partner, Marty, who has helped me facilitate this podcast. Today we feature Clay Belgie of the Lower Shore Autism community. Marty and I are emphasizing neurodiversity because we think there's a lot of misunderstanding of those who are neurodiverse. We truly believe they are employable, but some people do not understand those who are neurodiverse, and they're uncertain if they're employable. They're uncertain of different things, but as we employers and caretakers choose to understand and adapt to those who are neurodiverse, we can learn how to best adapt to them, learn their sweet spots or their niches, their strengths, and capitalize on those strengths to help them have a very productive, gainful life of employment. I am hoping we can work with employers who choose to work with and adapt to those who are neurodiverse. Marty, what are some takeaways we can learn from Clay?
I'm glad Clay is doing this. We're reading more and more about people that are working with these children that have a future. They are smart and they have a sweet spot. It's looking good that our communities are looking out for them and people are hiring them, training them, because they are valuable just as anybody else is valuable.
And neurodiverse people have talent, they're employable. Let's work together and let's find a great place to work with and adapt to those who are neurodiverse. Let's listen and learn together. Clay, it's great to have you with us. You are the director of the Neurodiverse Administration in Maryland, in the Eastern Shore of Maryland, I believe, Clay, and correct me if I'm wrong with that.
Well, I'm the president of the Lower Shore Autism Community, one of the few groups that's working with autistic folk in a number of ways, yes.
All right, would you consider yourself a private company, or are you part of the Maryland government system?
Oh, no, not at all. We're a small grassroots or organization. We've only been an entity for about 5 years now. We are a nonprofit, 501c. Um, Looking to do whatever we can to support our families and our people on the spectrum.
Let me ask you about people on the spectrum. Is it your perspective, and is it maybe your life work, that those on the spectrum, those who are neurodiverse, are employable? Do you generally approach these people that way?
Oh, certainly. Our families that are in our autism group are often quite concerned about what their older children now say. I call them kids, whether they're 5 or 35 in our group, but they are concerned about what happens after graduation. Many of our young people have finished high school. Some of the organizations in our neck of the woods, doors, are supposed to be participants in IEP meetings from, I believe, the junior year on to make sure that there are employment opportunities. We find that the idea is to determine the student's strengths and what they're most interested in. Anyone who works with autistic individuals knows that they all have their little special focus that they oftentimes become experts at. That's just a wide variety of things. And the idea is, again, to work towards those strengths and what they like to do.
Let me ask you in that context, Clay, finding a person's strengths, several questions come to mind. Let me start off by asking, do you administer aptitude tests or anything similar to that to determine a strength, or do you just work with the person and then discern what that strength is after some period of time?
Well, we'll often work with the person. We don't do any sort of testing. That's not really our role. But we, offer suggestions to families. We get to know the kids. We do have a monthly social group for teens and young adults, and we spend some time with them. And concurrently at those same meetings, we have a family support group for the caregivers, for the parents. And we work a little bit on those kinds of things. We talk a little bit about those kinds of things. I've got a couple of examples just in my own home. My daughter is now 31 years old, and as a child, she was always attracted to babies, taking care of little ones, being on the lookout for kids in the neighborhood. And in high school, she actually participated in our um, program that develops, we used to call it the old shop program, but we have a daycare program in our community. She got certified in daycare, and up until recently, when she just had her first child, she was employed part-time with a local daycare. Um, she could only work no more than 20 hours a week based on some of those autistic traits and the ADHD that we've talked about before and the anxiety. But, she was holding down a regular job and a regular paycheck. And we have a couple students just like that.
All right. Let me ask you in the context of education. Almost all autistic children, I'm assuming, and I've got limited experience with it, but I'm assuming almost all autistic children complete high school. and if that's a somewhat of an accurate assumption, are you an advocate of gap years? That is, maybe some amount of time from high school graduation before they enter college, and then, or do you have a criteria of who are the ones that would be best served by going to college and not
Right,
incur the expense and so forth?
right. Well, that's tough. I've never been a big fan of the gap year. I was spent 33 years in our school system here in Wycomico County. Part of that time, I was a high school principal, and it was my position that students had enough trouble retaining things throughout the summer, let alone taking an entire year. But to address your question about college, we have a local community college in our area that may be a good first place to start for some of our students to even take just a class or two. In fact, thinking about my daughter again, she took a couple of classes at our community college. The professor said she was wonderful and engaging in class, but when it came to test taking and multiple choices, add in the anxiety and the autism spectrum, and she just couldn't handle it. But that is a good place to start where, you mentioned finances. Parents can pay for a class or two and see if they like that idea. And some of them are successful and some of them aren't.
Is it your perception that some colleges, let's just call them institutions of learning, some of them some of those places are adaptable to those on the spectrum, but some are not? In other words, I'm asking the question from the context that some people do best if given more time to take a test. In other words, maybe let's just say, just to pick some numbers, that 30-minute time limit, but those on the spectrum might need an hour. Is that are there only special places that accommodate that type of learning?
I can only speak from my experience here on the shore. Warwick Community College, Salisbury University, and University of Maryland Eastern Shore, they all have special needs departments. From what I can tell, there's no formal IEP like students had from whenever they were diagnosed up through high school. But they do offer, yeah, the certain things like the extra time, um, a note taker in class, those kinds of things, but certainly not as formal as the traditional IEP that I know I dealt with from age 6 on up through graduation.
Okay. Your daughter, would you, to whatever degree you would feel comfortable discussing, but just very in general, would you categorize her as maybe a level one on that spectrum, or uh, uh, just so our listeners have an idea of just where your daughter may be? But Clay, only if you feel comfortable talking about that.
No, I'm fine. I would say, they changed the terminology. She would be level one or Asperger's. She's been married now for 7 years and just had a child who's 14 months old. The family has their own apartment. Of course, my wife and I are usually with them the greater part of every day of a week, whether that we're over there or they come to our house. Her husband is also employed. They have some limitations, but they're doing a good job. They do the best they can. Her husband works in a uh, elder care facility. He works in the kitchen there. So they're both doing pretty well. You could speak with my daughter for maybe 5 minutes or so and think that you're having, a pretty hate to use the word normal, but normal conversation. But after a while, you begin to pick up on some things that you may not be used to and might become difficult with having a conversation or even, getting directions to the mall, anything like that.
Sure. Let me ask you about maybe growing out of different stages of life. I know some neurodiverse people seem to be fixated on devices and that may be a matter of social skills. I know there's some people on the spectrum who feel personally or otherwise are observed as not having a whole lot of friends. And so they maybe substitute device time and so forth. Is it your life experience, maybe with your daughter and some of the work you do, that people can age out of that kind of thing? Or is that something that we might just need to have to learn to adapt to?
Oh, that's a tough question. I think as, again, kids get older, they may tend to wean themselves off their devices, but others never do. But the social skills are definitely better on the device. We have another young man in our group who barely says a word to anyone all day long, but involves himself with an online social group. And I believe he's on his computer every evening from 7 to 10 p.m. And from what I've heard, and I've been on this group before, he rarely stops talking. So it's pretty interesting how, when you bring up devices, how that can be an area where students and young people can find their niche and possibly move into something of another interest.
And I appreciate exactly what you're saying. And then there is an aspect that there are some nefarious people on the various chat forums and so forth. And
Yeah.
now it seems it's a matter of what is appropriate. I'm going to use the term appropriate oversight. I know we want to trust, but yet we want to verify. We don't want you to be captured by or duped into an illicit relationship. And Clay, that may be a very broad question that there is no specific answer, but I'm just curious for the person who says, yep, my son, daughter, or whomever I have relationship with is addicted to or spends a lot of time on the device and chatting with. We want to trust, but we don't want them to be duped into a nefarious relationship. Do you have any guidance that we can pass on to our listeners?
Well, I hate to say this, but a parent or a caregiver needs to be vigilant, needs to be listening on the other side of the door, needs to somehow be joining some of these podcasts or chat rooms or whatever under an assumed name. Um, that can be very scary. A couple of years ago here in our area, we had a young girl, I believe she was 15, and she developed a relationship with a man. He came to our area from New York and essentially kidnapped her, told her he wanted to marry her, took her back to New York, and law enforcement from both our area and New York were able to track them down and rescue the young lady. So there are a lot of stories out there that you have to be careful with. Um, that's not sure what else to say about that.
No, I think what you're saying is, yes, there is an aspect of trust, but always verifying.
Yes.
And I think it is appropriate to listen in on and try to monitor, maybe look at a history but I do know that, or we are learning that it's difficult to trace a history of internet usage when they use an app. Now, if they use
Right.
the straight up Internet Explorer,
Right.
my Microsoft Edge, Safari, Chrome, anything like that, you can trace that. But if they go through an app, and I don't know, someone with more technology savvy, who is more technology savvy than I am, would probably know how to trace that and look back. I don't know how to do that. The only thing I know to do, Clay, is to, as you said, listen in on, and hopefully you're able to have a meaningful conversation with the person who for whom you're the caregiver, and you can discern through the conversation if the device usage is legitimate, or if they're going off in the wrong direction. That is my long-winded perception of what we're dealing with.
And you hit the nail on the head with having conversations. You know, these folks need to get out, uh, even sitting with you at the dinner table, um, driving to the mall, and driving to a doctor's appointment, any opportunity whatsoever that you have to try to engage them in what they're doing. And my experience is quite often they'll share.
Yes, and I do think my approach is, as we choose to have it's a civil conversation, not
Sure.
one in which you want to be argumentative or combative. Many times you can engage in a very useful conversation. Now, let me ask you, in your line of business, do you help acclimate the neurodiverse to jobs? I mean, you did allude to, you or no, very specifically said you want to try to find their strengths and so forth. But are you also in the business of matching with those employers who are particularly adaptive to and want to work with the neurodiverse?
Not really. There may be, an informal possibility. We have some members of our group who own businesses and might be interested in taking somebody on. We do have a state program in our area, and it's run through our Warwick Community College. It's a culinary training. Students actually get a stipend. I think it might be $100 a week for 12 weeks. They get all their learning materials, they get a laptop, they get a set of knives, which might be a little scary, but they spend 12 weeks learning the culinary skills that could provide them with a job. And in our area, being close to the beach, that can really come in handy.
That sounds very interesting. I'm going to tell you, we would be interested in pursuing that. Our granddaughter has culinary skills, and we think that um, helping her sharpen those skills and focus on, I think that's an area where she could definitely excel. But as maybe your experience with your daughter, she needs to be with the right people who are adaptive to and accepting of those people who are neurodiverse. And when that match happens, a lot of good things can happen.
Exactly. And it gives them the opportunity before they start looking for a job. Can I handle, I certainly maybe can cook and got some great recipes, but can I handle a noisy kitchen with X number of other people and everyone shouting orders at one another? Can I handle the speed of food preparation? So that's a good way of determining at little or no cost to the individual, is this the right fit for me?
For those who may have neurodiverse people within their sphere of care, parent, grandparent, any other type of caregiver, and they want to work with you, how would they do that, Clay? Is there like an eligibility assessment? How would a person get connected with you?
Well, they can reach out. Our website is lowershoreautism.org. Um, they could email me. I am Clay at lsautism.org. We have a Facebook page, Lower Shore Autism Community, where we publicize a lot of our events, our meetings. We have a number of social events throughout the year that we invite families to participate in. For Autism Awareness Month in April, we always have a family fun day in the park. Um, in the fall, we do a harvest type Halloween festival. All these events are free to the public, and we always make sure that we get a place just for us. The we rent a pavilion in the park, and that way, our families are not having to deal with the prying eyes and the pointing fingers and that sort of thing. So we think that's really important for our families.
Some of those events you described are obviously in person, those who are in the Lower Shore, Maryland area. But for
Yes.
the person who may be out of state and not within a reasonable traveling distance, can you work with people who are at a distance? Do you do virtual work?
Sure. I mean, I'm certainly no expert in this field, but I can offer my advice. And raising actually two children on the spectrum, I haven't mentioned my son yet, um, and not to mention my experience in the education field and sitting in on IEP meetings from both a parent perspective and from a school perspective. So I'd be happy to chat with anyone.
Clay, on behalf of those who are neurodiverse, those who are caring for those neurodiverse, Marty and I both appreciate the work you're doing. We know no matter where they are on the spectrum, every person is a person that we believe God created with a very specific intent. And everybody has a place, and it's just a matter in some cases finding the right people, the right place with the niche, as we talked about earlier. And when all that lines up, everybody can have a very fruitful life. But Clay, thank you so much for your work and your outreach to the neurodiverse.
Oh, you're certainly welcome. Glad to help.
We appreciate having the opportunity to share our and our guests' life experiences with you.
The Cooper Culture advances organizations to achieve and sustain high retention rates, connected communication, and trust through personality insights and principled leadership. You can contact us at our website, thecooperculture.com, and you can contact us directly at ron@thecooperculture.com or Marty, Marty, at thecooperculture.com. We work with you to help assess aspects of your culture to advance the environment and people to their best performance. We do that through our staff of certified personal performance coaches, leadership trainers, keynote speakers, and DISC personality behavior experts. You can book a speaking engagement directly through our website by contacting us at ron@thecooperculture.com. We look forward to sharing our life experiences with you, some of which are profound, some of which are pretty funny. Some of those life experiences are ones we'll never do that again because we've been through stuff. We truly look forward to working with you, speaking with you, helping advance you in any way that we can.